Today's video, we're going to be checking out the Kotobukiya ArtFx 1/10 pre-painted model kit. This is the Marvel Now Venom. The model kit is 9 inches in length, and Venom is approximately 5.5 inches in height. He includes a metal display base, so it makes displaying the statue very, very easily. Again, this is all metal, and then on the underneath you've got full felt, so you won't have any scratching if you put this anywhere. Marvel Now underneath, and marvel.com. And a very simplistic looking Venom with the eyes and whatnot. Very, very simple. But it gets the point across. And for displaying the model kit, Venom has magnet plates on his hand and on both of his feet. Now you will notice though that he doesn't actually fit completely across the base, but the beauty of it being magnetized is that you can really have it anywhere that you want. For example, you could have the feet further back, actually on the base itself, and you can have Venom kind of lunging more so forward. Or what I've done too, just kind of display that where you've got more like strength kind of coming from the back of his leg and not that part hitting really the base itself. But it's one thing that I wish more companies would entertain, is making bases simply just metal and having the statues magnetized, so really you can put them anywhere you want on the base itself. There's no specific rule, for example, that says you have to put them in one place. There's no dictating peg hole where the statue has to stand there. With some of the DC collectible statues that we've looked at, as well as some of the ones that we haven't looked at on this channel, one of the problems that have come with quality control is that the holes don't always line up with the pegs. With this being just simply magnetized, and I don't know if they have, you know, a patent on the idea that their statues are the only ones that can really be magnetized, it's really a lot easier to peg this and, well, to attach it really anywhere that you want, and it's a lot easier. So let's go ahead and get them off the base. We'll just put the base right there, for example. Now, it is called an ArtFx Statue 1/10 scale pre-painted model kit in the sense that you are putting it together. But really the only elements that you're putting together are the 2 arms and the head. Go ahead and take the head off, take the arms out, and I'll show you how he comes out of packaging. Essentially he comes just with the torso, and then your corresponding arms, and the head. I do wish that these were magnetized as well, instead of just simply having to peg them into place, but they're not difficult necessarily put in place. The trickier one being this arm right here, and this arm, making sure again, yeah, this arm right here. You really have to kind of have to put it in and then slightly tuck it down for it to fit into the socket, and then a little bit of pressure, and you get the arm completely in place. With it also being a kind of a snap together model, you may notice a little bit of gap creases or gap lines where you can see that the arm was attached, which is not as seamless as it could have been necessarily. But again, that's the way that this all kind of comes together. This arm's a lot easier to peg in, and then finally the last bits are just taking the head and lining that up. None of this is magnetized. Magnetized attachments could have made things a lot easier, but again, everything kind of comes together and comes together actually quite nicely. And here you have the finished piece, and really, what a piece it is! It's not as black as I thought it was going to be. In fact, the packaging would make me think that the statue, we're going to go with calling this a statue, was actually going to be a lot blacker than what initially I get this out of packaging to look like. The packaging would have this look like almost a shiny dark black color, but instead actually it's closer to being an almost very, very dark blue based black than anything else. I'm glad that they actually went the route of making this more of a matte color than going the very route of going a very shiny black, and I just don't think that would have worked as well. You can really see, especially with going this paint route, the very intricate little muscle and little fibers and veins and stuff really all over his arms and his legs. Like, it looks really impressive. As for his face, of course, they're going the route of a much longer tongue, which works in some regards. I almost feel like the tongue might be a little too outrageously long, but I have to admit that the face sculpt is done exceptionally well, especially with all those multiple, spiked teeth that are coming out from his jaw. It looks really, really cool, though. The tongue almost actually comes across more like it's covered or doused in blood, rather than just being the natural color of his tongue, especially areas up here where I feel like it gets a little too excessive in the amount of blood red that they used. I wish it was a little bit toned back, not only just the length, but I wish also the color was slightly toned back, that it doesn't look like he just ate Spider-Man. The head sculpt, again, is really nicely done. Paint, very mild in the sense that really with Venom, you're obviously only going to get black, and then the color palettes for his, the back torso symbol as well as the front symbol, which aren't even just solely white. You can see that they've used kind of a lighter gray, almost like a blue-based gray, that they've kind of airbrushed in there as well. Some of the lines, I have to admit, for the symbol don't seem as solid or finished as I would hope. Maybe a more distinct line could have gone a long way, but it does seem like it gets a little blurry on the edges between the white and the dark coloring of his outfit. But he's definitely very muscled up, and it does look really exceptionally cool. I mean, above and beyond just simply sculpting a super muscular Venom, they've also gone in and added these extension pieces that are coming out from his arms and his torso, his legs, all looking as if the symbiote is alive, and it really looks, again, very impressive to have this guy on display. The pose also, I think, is a good suitable pose for a character such as Venom, a very feral beast-like of a villain or hero, depending on your preference for Venom. But again, I just really like that he mimics more so like an animal than he does a human. And I think this is an ideal, again, pose for how you want to have the figure displayed. Very large hands. About the only thing on the statue that has the shinier plastic is that of his nails. And he's got these very long, claw-like nails on the ends of his fingers here. And there's the magnetized, or magnet square there on the one end, and then on his feet. But the only thing I would say is something I wish that could have been changed is while I do accept everything kind of comes together like a puzzle or a model, the one thing that's very clear is the very definitive line here where you can see that the head looks like a separate piece from the rest of his neck. The color also seems like it could be slightly off, and it might be just maybe the way I'm looking at it, that it does seem like it's slightly darker here and just one shade lighter where the head attaches into place. I don't know how they could have gone around this. Maybe they could have had the tongue as a separate piece that could have plugged in. That you could have either gone the route of with or without tongue, but the head would have already been sculpted into the neck. And then that would have completely eliminated the idea that you would have had this seamed line where the head would have attached to the neck. Other than that, I think it's a fantastic looking piece. Here in Canada and at the comic book store that I picked Venom at, he was price point, he was about $90. I think he was about $91 or so. He is granted plastic. He's not using the use of a resin or anything like that. So he is a little on the steeper side, but Kotobukiya pieces by nature tend to be a little bit more expensive anyways. Smaller figures can easily top over a $30 price point. So Venom will set you back a little bit, but I definitely think he brings a lot to the table. I really like the sculpt of him. I think having all those veins and stuff all over his arms and legs are a really nice touch. Perhaps the tongue gets a little too extreme and maybe could have been toned back a bit. And if anything, I would have still gone the route of pegging the tongue in rather than pegging the head in. The head could have been a little bit more seamless to the neck, and by being able to only peg the tongue in, could have given collectors the option of either displaying Venom with or without the tongue. I like the sculpt on him, but I can't help but wonder how the statue would have looked as well if Venom didn't have his signature tongue. Other than that, still a great looking piece. Venom collectors will probably want to add this one to their collection as well. Today, once again, we're having a look at the Kotobukiya. This was the Marvel Now Venom ArtFx Statue 1/10 scale pre-painted model kit. They say it's a model kit. Essentially, it's only just a couple of pieces. It's 2 arms and a head that attaches to an already established body. Doesn't really have a whole lot of building aspects to it, but it's still a great looking piece that's going to look awesome on a display shelf. If you guys haven't had a chance already to hit that little subscribe button down below, make sure you do so now, as you'll never miss a beat when it comes to future videos. And speaking of future videos, of course, many more videos will be coming onto this channel, so stay tuned for those. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do, and I'll see you next time.